Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Parker. Thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day to spend them here with me. Before we get started, I'm just going to ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're brand new and you enjoy the content, as the support is greatly appreciated, and I'm trying to hit 500 subscribers by the time the Super Bowl gets here. It's looking a little bleak, but hey, I believe in you guys, and I'm hoping you can help me get there. Now, of course, with my video earlier today and NFL news that is really going around and buzzing the Broncos world, and it's the acquisition of Sean Payton for the Broncos. Yeah, of course, we sent this year's first round pick, which we got from the Dolphins, which was originally the 49ers pick, to the Saints, which is 29th overall, and our second round pick next year for Sean Payton and a third round pick next year. So this is going to be a 2023 7-round mock draft for the Denver Broncos. Now that it is official that Sean Payton is our head coach. So let's jump into this. As always, I just want to ask you that, ask that you give your life to Jesus. I pray that he's got a plan and a purpose for you. And I truly hope that I hope and I pray that you give your life to Jesus, because he's got a plan and a purpose for you, like I said earlier. And if you believe with your whole heart that he died on the cross for your sins, then you'll go to heaven. It's that simple. It's that easy. It's by grace, through faith, that we are saved. It's not through our works. Works are good, but it's by faith that we are saved. And as a Christian, I do feel it's very important to share this message with as many people as possible, because I have a small platform. And even though it's not super big, I want to try and get that message about Jesus' sacrifice and how we can get to heaven out to as many people as possible so that they can be saved. And a lot of people won't like it, but quite frankly, I do not care. And with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into this mock draft. And in the third round, pick 67, I have us selecting Blake Freeland, offensive tackle out of BYU. Listen, the Broncos need a right tackle. We've had a rotating door at right tackle for the past few seasons. Last year it was Billy Turner, it was Cam Fleming, Bobby Massey's been there, Juwan James in previous seasons, Calvin Anderson. It's been that rotating door, and we haven't had that solidified right tackle for a long, long time. And, maybe there aren't the best tackles here, as much as I like Darnell Wright, he's most likely going in the first, if not early second round. So I don't think we'll get him unless we move up. And I just don't think that's a great idea with how few picks we have this season. But Blake Freeland was there in the third round. I think he's a very solid tackle. I don't know if he'll necessarily start next season, but he has the opportunity to start next season. He's 6'8", 304 pounds. And, of course, 6'8", it's going to be, you got Russell Wilson, who is on the shorter side for quarterback. So that's the only problem, would be seeing over Blake Freeland. But hey, I think that honestly the size doesn't really matter at the offensive tackle in terms of rushing over them. I think he'll be just fine throwing the football, no matter the size of his right tackle. Blake Freeland is the best offensive tackle at this point, so I have us selecting him at 67. With the 68th pick, because we have back-to-back third-round picks, I have us selecting Luke Wypler, center out of Ohio State. Wypler is the second-best the second-best center in this class. I'm sorry if I said safety. He is a center out of Ohio State, and to me, he is the second-best center in this class, right behind John Michael Schmitz. To me, I think we're going to need a center, because you look at it, we got Lloyd Cushenberry, yes, but he is coming to the end of his rookie contract at the end of this season, and this is a whole new regime that has come in. I mean, Cushenberry was drafted by John Elway in 2020 with Vic Fangio as the head coach. Now we got Sean Payton as the head coach and George Payton as the GM, which I guess you could have said last year with George Payton and Nathaniel Hackett, but it still stands. I don't know if they're going to bring back Lloyd Cushenberry next season, so we're going to have to look for a replacement at center. You could put Graham Glasgow there, but he is approaching his 30s, so I don't think that is the smartest idea. And you could put Quinn Miners there, but I think Quinn Miners is a very, very solid guard. So I'd prefer to keep him at guard. So I have us grabbing the best center that's available at the time. My second best center in the class, and Luke Weipler. He's 6'3", 300 pounds. And I do think it's important that the Broncos, at the bare minimum, at least get an offensive tackle and some form of interior offensive lineman, whether that be a center or guard. I do feel it's important to grab at least one of them. It would be ideal to grab both an offensive tackle, a guard, and a center, but it just is how the board plays out. In this instance, these are the only two offensive line I got. Spoiler alert, but the value just wasn't there for me. But in the fourth round, I have us selecting Caillou Blue Kelly, cornerback out of Stanford. You guys have probably seen him in a lot of my mocks for the Broncos. He is one of my guys. Kelly out of Stanford might be the second best corner in the Pac-12 this past season, right behind Christian Gonzalez of Oregon. Kelly was absolutely phenomenal this past season, and I do think the Broncos should add to that cornerback room, because you look at it, you got to start in Patrick Surtain, obviously. And then at corner 2, you got you got Ronald Darby, sorry. We'll get to Damari Mathis later, but you got Ronald Darby, who is entering the final year of his deal. In the slot, you got K'Wan Williams, who is entering the final year of his deal. We cut Michael Ojemudia last season. Isang Bassi, I believe, is a free agent as well. And so a lot of corners within the next few seasons are going to be up and not under contract, with the Broncos really leaving Pat Surtain and Damari Mathis under contract. So I do think the Broncos need to address corner at some point. If they find a corner in this year's draft or next year's draft in free agency, they should do it. But I have us grabbing a corner here because I think the corners in this draft are phenomenal. This is a really strong corner class to grab one for the future. So whether that be here, maybe even with one of our third round picks, it doesn't matter. The Broncos need to grab a corner, and I have us selecting Caillou Blue Kelly out of Stanford. In 37 games with the Cardinals, he has 111 solo tackles, 36 assist tackles for 147 total tackles, 23 passes defended, and 3 interceptions. He would be phenomenal. I don't necessarily know if he would start next season. I'd probably say, obviously, Surtain, Darby, and K'Wan Williams in the slot. And then if you need 4 corners on the field, I'd put Damari Mathis in there. But hey, maybe he does come in. Maybe you cut Ronald Darby or K'Wan Williams or trade one of them, whatever it is, then he could see the field. But realistically, I think he mostly sits for a majority of this season. But hey, we'll have to see what he does. Caillou Blue Kelly is one of my guys and one of my favorite prospects in this draft. In the 5th round, I have the Broncos selecting Ventrell Miller, linebacker out of Florida. I thought our linebackers, they performed above average with both Josie Jewell and Alex Singleton there. But when you look at it, Alex Singleton is a free agent this season, or a free agent right now. So the Broncos, we could bring him back. We'll have to see. And then Josie Jewell is a free agent next offseason. Then you got Jonas Griffith, who's also a free agent this year. And then you got Justin Strnad, who will be a free agent next season. So I do think the Broncos need to address a linebacker, maybe even earlier than the 5th round, because I like Josie Jewell. Hopefully he can be extended beyond next season. We'll see if we bring back Alex Singleton. I like Jonas Griffith as a depth linebacker, not necessarily as a full-time starter, but I do think the Broncos need some interior linebacker depth, because I think obviously we run a 3-4 system as of right now. We'll have to see who Sean Payton brings in as his defensive coordinator. So the outside linebackers are pass rushers, but I do think even so, if we stay at a 3-4, I do think we need some linebacker depth. And then obviously if we switch to a 4-3, we'll need 3 linebackers. So it's just that I do think we need to address a linebacker. At this position, Ventrell Miller was the best player available. In 42 games with the Gators, he has 124 solo tackles, 114 assist tackles, 238 total tackles. He has 23.5 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks, 7 passes defended, and 1 interception. And then moving on to our final pick of this draft. Of course, compensation picks haven't come out yet, so we'll have to deal with that when when they come out. But as of right now, our final pick in the draft is a 6th-round pick, which we got from the Steelers in exchange for Malik Reed in the 7th. I have us selecting Tajay Spears, running back out of Tulane. This is once again one of my guys, and in the past few mock drafts, I've had Tajay Spears as a running back going in the later rounds to the Broncos. I think he is so versatile. He has a lot of speed and acceleration and burst, but he's also able to take a hit and run people over, which I thought was really impressive. Not to mention, he is a very valuable asset in the passing game. If you look at his stats in 33 games with Tulane, he has 427 rushing attempts for 2,910 yards, averaging about 6.8 yards per carry, scoring 31 touchdowns on the ground. And then if we look at his numbers through the air, he has 48 receptions for 564 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Tajay Spears, I think, can be a very solid back in the NFL. If we look at our running back core for next season, we have, of course, Javonte Williams. Then you have Chase Edmonds under contract, and I believe that is it. When you look at the rest of the backs that we had, Marlon Mack's is going to be a free agent. Latavius Murray is going to be a free agent, although I do hope we bring him back. Tyler Beatty is going to be a free agent. Who else? Mike Boone is going to be a free agent. So there's not a lot of guys. So Tajay Spears to me is someone who I would like, and he could get a lot of carries while we wait for Javonte to come back. Of course, he suffered a nasty injury in week 4. I don't know if he's going to be ready to start the season next year necessarily. I hope he is. But if he needs to take a little bit of extra time to get back to 100%, I totally understand and would rather him miss the first couple weeks of the season rather than rush back. So I do think it's important for the Broncos to get a back, whether that be in the draft or if we sign someone like a Tony Pollard or at least another back to complement Chase Edmonds. Hopefully Latavius Murray, I hope we bring him back. So we'll have to see, but Tajay Spears is one of my guys and one of my favorite prospects in this draft, and I have us grabbing him at pick 195 in the 6th round. Anyway, that has been my Denver Broncos mock draft. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're brand new. My name is Parker, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.